So, I'm going to tell you the story anyways. It's special to me, as is this car. This car was purchased in 1967, actually November of 1966, by my great aunt.
If your life's kind of bland, make a change, take a stand, deal yourself a new hand. Try an Oldsmobile, set your sights on a star, scale Pikes Peak, shatter par, sail to old Zanzibar, drive an Oldsmobile. Catch a cheetah to tame, ride a show big as Maine, bowl a 300 game, try an Oldsmobile, phone the Queen with a joke, on fourth down go for broke, swim the channel backstroke, go with Oldsmobile. Dive for pearls, fish for whale, cross the ocean by sail, step out front, blaze a trail, drive an Oldsmobile. Come alive, get in gear, 67's the year, the new rockets are here, buy an Oldsmobile.
When it comes to Oldsmobiles, we don't know the meaning of the word no. All we can say is yes. YES, for year-end savings on every beautifully engineered new 67 Oldsmobile in stock. We're offering year-end savings on the elegant 98s, on the great 88s, including the richly appointed Delta 88 Custom. We're saying yes on youthful F-85s and Cutlass Supremes. We're even saying YES on the fabulous front-wheel drive Toronados. Every one features rocket power plus a long list of standard Oldsmobile safety, comfort, and convenience features. And you can add a stereo tape player, an AM/FM radio, or any number of many other personal options. Don't fight it. Say yes to a new Oldsmobile at year-end savings.
Welcome to 1966. White is a brand new showroom shiny vehicle, which has just been purchased from Rowan Olds in Ypsilanti, Michigan. White came with the powerful 425 V8 engine, turbo-hydromatic 3-speed transmission, power steering and brakes, chrome drip edge molding, and more, all for the grand total of $33,905.33. A small fortune, but worth it. Here's the earliest photo I have been able to find of White. This is in 1969 at my great Aunt Marion's house in Ypsilanti just after a fresh snowfall. She would, with my grandmother, occasionally drive up to Marquette, Michigan to see my dad at college. Go Wildcats! Later on, Aunt Marion moved up to Cedar, Michigan after remarrying. Here is White enjoying the afternoon sun with the chickens. Not much is known, at least by me, what took place over the next 30 years. White got older and the miles were stacking up. The common practice was to just park cars out of the way when they got too old. Over time, someone decided to use White as target practice. The windshield and headlights had bullet strikes from a .22 caliber rifle. Somehow the driver's door window was later broken, letting in the elements. It seemed this once proud and beautiful car was doomed to return back to nature. Fast forward to early 2005. My dad and I were saying hello to Aunt Marion. Throughout our trips up to Cedar, we spotted this old car sitting up the hill from the house. Several trips later, after asking Aunt Marion about it, she said if we wanted it and could get it out, it was ours. But that had to wait until spring. There was too much snow to attempt the rescue. Sadly, the natural garage had not kept the car very dry or out of the weather. It was in bad shape, but it sure was cool looking, especially from a distance. Not like any of the traditional cookie cutter cars that many collectors seem to covet, like the Chevelle or Bel Air. The car was buried to the frame. It seemed the wheels had sunk into the ground over the years. Getting the car out was gonna be no easy feat. The car was surrounded by brush with very sharp thorns, and it had to be dug out. It wasn't gonna go without a fight. But we were victorious, and we brought White back to camp to assess the damage. Interestingly enough, as soon as we got back, we decided to try to inflate the tires to roll the car off the trailer. All four of them blew right up and held air, at least long enough to get off the trailer. One eventually went flat overnight, the rest stayed up. Some of the best things about exploring a new-to-you vehicle is the treasure hunt that you go on. Aunt Marion had used the car as a storage shed at some point. I found the original owner's manual, window sticker, and original warranty card with her name still inside it. The car was not at all in good shape. The motor was seized, the car was falling apart, and the floor pans were missing in action. It was time for some major restoration, well beyond the talents of this then 17-year-old kid. The car sat and was moved around the area for the next 2 summers. I just didn't have the skill I do now to work on it. In 2006, while looking for parts, we spotted another 67 Oldsmobile. This one was a Delmont 88. The price was right and it came home, and home it came. Green met his cousin White for the first time in the late summer of '06, as we see here in the picture. In 2007, we thought we had found a motor and a guy to do the swap just to get the car running. We bought a 1986 Buick 350 out of a car and was told it would be installed just to get the car running and driving. Aunt Marion's health was starting to go down, and both my dad and I wanted her to see her car running one last time. Progress was good at first. The old 425 was removed and the new 350 was installed. And that was where the car ran into stalemate yet again. Promises that were made were never kept, and the work was never completed. Sadly, the car was never finished, and Aunt Marion passed away early in 2008. After White was picked up, we brought it back to camp. My dad had been talking to some guys at a local body shop and got an idea of the amount of money it would take to bring White back. We took the car to the local shop up north. The original price quoted was in our budget, so we decided to have the body work done. It would be a semi-soft restoration, leaving the body on the frame, a decision I regret to this day. In the spring of 2008, right after I graduated from high school, progress was finally happening. Removing the interior, we saw just how bad everything really was. It was also obvious that the interior needed major restoration. We brought the pieces home to a local auto glass shop that also repairs and builds interiors. I wanted to get rid of the dreary gray interior and go to something more sharp. I wanted a nice rich blue interior, which is exactly what I had picked. Using the original patterns, we had designed a brand new interior custom made to the original factory specs, only with a different color. This car is special, so I wanted it to look as sharp both outside and inside. As the months passed, it became very evident that we needed a different engine. There was just too much of a difference between the 1986 Buick and the 1967 Oldsmobile motor. The search was on for a 67 parts car with a good motor. One was found in upstate New York. We took it right from New York to Rogers City, where it could be accessed if needed. Meanwhile, the interior was coming along, and the car was being sanded down. The winter of 2008-09 saw a major transformation in the car. Lots of bodywork had to be done, but the car was coming along. The car was painted by February. Winter work slowed the shop down, but the car looked much better. It was soon time for the interior to be dropped off. Now that the interior was installed, it was time to put in the freshly painted, high-compression 425 V8 out of the parts car. At this point, the bodywork was just about done. It was now time for mechanical work. Engine tune-up, change all the fluids, new brakes, tires, bearings, and check all the systems. The mechanical work that was performed was of the highest quality next to the interior on the entire car. Putting some finishing touches on and basking in the late August sunlight. Sadly, the restoration came in at nearly double the original estimate, which is why it is important to have things written down. But the car looks so much better, and most importantly, it drives. Sort of. There were still many gremlins that were not killed by the restoration. I am still, to this day, fighting some of them. Before the winter became too severe, it was time to bring White home to Detroit. Note the original 425 under the snowmobile hood next to the pole barn. I still have the motor and hope to rebuild it one day. Not too much happened during the winter of 2009-2010. White lived in a quiet garage for once and was started periodically. But the paint on the car really didn't shine. Also, mechanical gremlins such as the transmission erratically shifting were beginning to emerge. It was time to act. We brought White back to Livernois Auto Glass where the interior was made, for some detail work. Items such as window levers, courtesy lights which the car had originally but were never reinstalled, and speakers for the radio were installed. Throughout throughout the months, the car would sit in the garage. What are we to do? I was now going to college in Marquette, following my dad's footsteps or shadow, and the car wasn't doing much while I was away. It was diagnosed that the transmission problem also was not going to go away. The car would slip in and out of gear while stopped at a light. I would have to manually shift back into drive just to accelerate. It was time for a rebuild. I brought home the original 3-speed that the car came with. I figured we might as well rebuild the original transmission that the car came with. The gears were fine, but the clutches and bands were worn. The summer of 2011, we decided to have White professionally detailed. The car was finally popping. It was now time for the first car show. We took White with his cousin, the 1968 Olds Delmont 88, the third vehicle in our now 3-car fleet. Not bad for a first show. We didn't place best of show, but White did make the top 40. We participated in another car show in the fall and also placed. Clearly, some people really liked White. Sadly though, it was time to return to Marquette for another semester. While I loved it up there and miss it terribly, in the winter of 2012 I had an incident on the ice and broke my leg and ankle in the same day. It put me out of commission for the rest of the winter and essentially ended my time in Marquette, as I was unable to take any needed classes until the next semester. But that meant I could work more on the car, right? Well, not until the summer. We did a few more shows, including a big Oldsmobile-only car show in Lansing, Michigan. That was very interesting. Sadly, though, they only had 6 awards for over 500 cars. Interestingly enough, there was not another 1967 or 1968 or any Delmont 88s present at the show. The last car show I participated in was at the Packard Auto Company Proving Ground show in the summer of 2015. Because it was a wet, rainy day and not enough cars came, every car won something, making it fun for all. The rest, as they say, is history, and you have seen White on my channel. One day I plan on removing the body from the frame and doing a full restoration on the chassis. But for now, White is a nice driver that turns heads, and a special vehicle to me and my family. I hope everyone enjoys seeing it like I enjoy showing it. My final words is I would like to thank Aunt Marion for buying this car, because without her investment, this entire video would not have happened, and this car would have probably lost along the highways of time.